Teresa, this ongoing violence at Trump rallies, does it help or hurt the Trump campaign?
Well, I think it helps his campaign because I think people are seeing the American flag get burned, and they're going to have a big problem with that. And I think it's important to point out that often when we see these kind of protests, it's something that is being spearheaded by the left. You look at the recent Telemundo staging of a protest in San Diego. You look at the Hillary Clinton campaign and their sparsely attended veterans protest. And you also look at something like the Fight for 15 and even the protest at the McDonald's headquarters recently. And that's something that's being staged by the SEIU. They spent $18.6 million on that effort last year alone.
Wow.
I mean,
what about that? Is that the left, Richard?
Let's try to have some facts here this morning.
Well, those are facts.
Those are not facts. They're not facts.
But they are, though.
Hold on. Wait. It is not a fact that the SEIU staged a violent protest. Look, there is should be no place. Yes, this is exactly what you said, my dear.
That's not what I said, though. I said that they spent $18.6 million in the Fight for 15.
But that's not
everything I said is
not what you suggested.
That's exactly what I said.
Let me answer your question, okay? Let's have a little discussion here rather than a screaming match, right? So there's obviously no place in politics in our elections for violent protest. And I think that Hillary has condemned that. Sanders has condemned it. No one.
When did she condemn it? That's the thing, because we've been talking about it earlier.
There are many times where she has condemned violence in politics, right? She has a long record.
Can you say any specific times?
I'm not going to say it any specific times, but I mean, if you look at her entire record over time, I mean, this is not a woman who there's anything in her history or in her reputation that would suggest that she wants violence in politics. But look at what starts this. I mean, Trump gets in there. It's like entertainment. He riles up these crowds. I mean, look at just the article, the interview he gave to the Wall Street Journal this morning, where he says that a Mexican-American federal judge cannot stand in judgment of him in the Trump University case because he's of Mexican heritage. This is making a lot of people very angry, Maria, and I think Trump. This is exactly what Trump wants.
I understand
because Trump is trying to create this environment.
But they're not the ones burning American flags.
But listen, this is exactly what he is trying to do. This is exactly what Donald Trump is trying to do. He's trying to create this atmosphere in which this chaos, this bluster, these rants. I mean, the man is going insane before our very eyes.
May I ask you something?
Yes, of course you may.
Are you saying, because again, this is left-wing doublespeak.
No, I am not saying that he is responsible, of course, but I am saying he bears some of the responsibility. When he gets up and he goes on with these rants, when he goes on with these crazy performances in these rallies and gets people all riled up and makes these jokes about the protesters, and then when he gives an interview in which he says that Mexican Americans are not entitled to sit in judgment of him because they're Mexican, that is the kind of rhetoric that has no place in a campaign, and that is the kind of rhetoric that is starting this.
That is the same rhetoric that liberals use to say that we deserve to be attacked on 9/11. That is the exact same thing.
That is ridiculous. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. How can you possibly say that to me? How can you possibly say that to me?
You did just say, basically, Donald Trump is to blame here.
I am saying that he bears some of the responsibility.
But it's also not Bernie Sanders. Not Bernie Sanders.
Listen,
not Hillary Clinton.
I do not think that you can compare the rhetoric of Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton to the rhetoric of Donald Trump.
Yes, you can.
I mean,
you look at the language of
Clinton or Donald Trump saying that Mexican Americans are unqualified to be federal judges.
You look at the language of the Bernie Sanders supporters calling the Democratic chairwoman of Nevada and threatening her life. And look, it's a lot easier to control crowds.
Listen, it is a very overheated campaign. It is a very overheated campaign. But I want to say that I think that Mr. Trump is temporarily unfit.
Hold on. It's a lot easier. Let me speak here. It's a lot easier if you're Hillary Clinton, you're controlling a crowd of a couple hundred of people because people aren't excited about her candidacy, and she can't even lock down the Democratic convention for someone who's been hold on.
Exactly the kind of stuff we hear from Mr. Trump.
Backbencher in Congress for decades.
Right here.
Who is it? No, it's the truth. You have a problem with facts, don't you? But look, he's been someone who's been an independent candidate outside of the Democratic system. She can't even defeat a 74-year-old. No, I'm pivoting to the fact that Hillary Clinton.
We're having a discussion about the lack of
enthusiasm for Hillary Clinton.
No.
You have tens of thousands of people that are turning out to the Trump event. And it's a lot easier to contain crowds when there's a lack of enthusiasm and you're talking to a couple hundred people.
I understand. We can't even have a discussion.
You don't want to have a discussion. You want to have a shouting fest over everyone else not letting anyone else speak.
Because you start with these
you don't let anyone else talk.
Asserting these things.
You don't want to have a dialogue or a conversation. You want to not listen to facts and then condemn someone distorting the facts that are actually legitimate facts and then not allowing for a dialogue.
Start out
but this is what Democrats do. The Democratic Party, you demagogue, and you don't allow for a conversation.
Now she's calling me a demagogue. Maria, this is the kind of...
Let's look at these polls, Richard, because the latest poll shows Bernie Sanders is edging out Hillary Clinton in California. What does this mean? How important is California? What if she loses California to Bernie?
Well, listen, we have certainly had a very spirited campaign on the Democratic side. Hillary Clinton, though, has received over 3 million more votes than Bernie Sanders, and she will be the Democratic nominee. I mean, the truth is that even if, the California race may be close, I'm optimistic that Hillary will win it. I'm optimistic that she will win in New Jersey. But even if there's essentially a tie in those states, Hillary Clinton has 3 million more Democratic votes in the Democratic primary, and she will be the Democratic nominee, and the Democrats will be unified, and even Bernie Sanders said that he will campaign for the Democratic nominee.
That is such spin, though, because if she was to lose California on a night when she wants to declare that she is the presumptive nominee, we are talking about one of the most democratic states, one of the most diverse states that she should absolutely win. That is an embarrassment that stunts her momentum heading into the convention and stunts her momentum heading into the general election.
What does that do for Bernie at the convention? If she loses California, how big of a platform does he get in California?
Well, I think that he and his supporters are going to have an important part of the Democratic Party, and they will have an important voice at the Democratic convention, as they should. He's gotten a lot of votes. But Hillary Clinton is going to be the Democratic nominee, and it's going to be Hillary Clinton's policies that move the Democratic Party forward and move the country forward.
Bernie Sanders
and I think that we really need to look at the contrast she is drawing. I mean, I think the speech she gave yesterday on Mr. Trump's foreign policy was very effective.
You're talking about a woman. Hillary Clinton is running to be the commander-in-chief of the United States.
She asked me a question.
I know, but you're not allowing for anyone else to speak, so I can't even talk.
I'm sure you'll get your turn because she's very fair. Okay,
ahead,
you asked me about the Democratic foreign policy. I mean, and I noticed that in the last segment you called it a failed foreign policy. Now, look, I mean, foreign policy is tough. We live in a very complicated world, but there were a lot of successes during President Obama's foreign policy.
What were the successes?
I would say the bringing to justice of Osama bin Laden. I mean, that was the #1 foreign policy objective in the last years. Check. Complete success. Reducing our footprint in Afghanistan and Iraq. Very successful. I mean, we live in a very complicated world.
Richard, she's running to be commander-in-chief of the United States of America, overseeing the world's largest nuclear arsenal, overseeing the world's largest superpower.
Is that what you'd like to put Mr. Trump in charge of?
But she can't even be trusted with her emails.
Listen, I mean, there's the pivot back to the emails,
Well, the email and the foundation.
Failed intervention in Libya, failed Russia reset, spearheading a deal with Iran, the largest state sponsor of terrorism in the world, giving them $100 billion to go fund terrorism around the globe.
Now you're pivoting to the main talking point.
I'm trying to have a dialogue, not a monologue.
We really have to put some smart discussion in this. I mean, we can't keep screaming at each other.
This is the smartest discussion.
Are you calling that lady stupid?
No, I'm saying we can't.
He wants to have a monologue, not a dialogue.
We cannot continue to scream at each other. And you, I mean,
I've been trying to have a conversation.
In this segment, you accused me of sympathizing with the people who attacked us on 9/11. You think that's a legitimate thing to say on a morning business show? My God, what have we come to?
When Bernie Sanders talks about shouting, he's accused of sexism by Hillary Clinton. Just remember that.
Yeah, it's true.